next round of this draft.
This also separates a little bit for me if the Varus was necessary. You think teams would just ban that out, but will Sword Art still be able to hit those bindings, make that team work? Was it just the Varus? We'll find out. Looking on the other side, the victor for Pobelter played all throughout the finals versus Team Solo Mid. He will lock it in once more, and Doublelift gets his Tristana.
Okay, so CLG, bread and butter here. They got the wave clear mid laner, as well as the demolitionist in Tristana. Knock down early turrets, and they will be able to defend if they do get behind. One of the reasons why CLG have been losing in such spectacular fashion against the Coup Tigers is because they've been taking more risky plays after they've gotten behind. If you have something like Victor to wave clear, you can be a bit more circumspect.
Well, I don't know why I was talking about Nidalee coming through this whole time with Rek'Sai being first pick. So
I'll let you slide on it.
I tunneled a little bit. You should have stopped me, Kobe.
You tunneled? What? Oh.
You definitely should have stopped me. So my bad on that one. But that is the hard initiation right there from Flash Wolves. That is no longer a full poke composition. That is very heavy on the initiation the instant that CLG locked in Victor.
Also, this is something that CLG have feared from the first week. In the first week, they banned Malphite 2 of their first games without ever even seeing anyone play.
It's the Echo flex pick. They set it up in the game against Coup Tigers, and Echo's going top lane.
There's their damage source that we are looking for. It is going to Zion Spartan, the AP Echo into Malphite.
We wondered what would happen. Echo with the changes recently, Smithy still took it for that first game, but Zion Spartan now to try to go up against the Malphite in the top. Seeing that Karsa, Maple now, Rek'Sai, LeBlanc, see if their synergy gets into this game as well.
That's a wicked flex pick to pull it at this point, because they'd already waited for the Malphite. They were probably expecting a top lane bruiser, maybe like an Olaf or a Gnar for Zion, so they thought the Malphite was safe. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, plus this way they get a lot of AP damage into the Malphite pick. So Malphite, at this point, you can build Abyssal Scepter, but you don't want to have to spend too much, going through that build path. And it will be light on armor. So CLG very diversified in their damage sets. That being said, for Flash Wolves, though, they've got the Black Shield that you mentioned for Jinx. And they do have a bursty combo of their own. Malphite and LeBlanc, very, very big at picking champions off. If Flash Wolves can get the Fog of War advantage, then you can instantly blow someone up.
We're almost about to head into the game. This matchup, if CLG are to win, birth themselves into the semifinals for a game. And they absolutely want that. Coming out very outspoken as being a team that can make finals. If you think, who you think has the edge in this match, tweet at LOL Esports, hashtag FWWin or hashtag CLGWin. We'll tally those up throughout the game. You always see it at the bottom. You can participate in the streams as well.
I need to touch on about these team compositions is the way Black Shield will be interacting with Maple's LeBlanc later on in the game. So often, LeBlanc is like it's a poking assassin in a sense, because she can distortion right on your face, get quickly out, and do that multiple times as cooldown permits. If Flash Wolves just simply puts a Black Shield on Maple later in the game, he will be able to poke as much as he wants on LeBlanc in general safety, which will enhance CLG's need to...
That wall of defense, but cannot get any kills. So a little bit of love for the mid lane so far.
Yeah, plus Karsa already is a camp up here on Smithy. So he's already ahead in experience, and he's already gotten a summoner spell out of the mid lane. Really takes a lot of the momentum out of Pobelter's lane phase that he was trying to build up here. Maple already with a decent CS lead.
And Maple has been a really prominent assassin player within the LMS. A lot of people are looking for him and Karsa because of their synergy to really have Maple take over multiple games here. And finally, he's unlocked here to play an assassin in LeBlanc, and he's doing quite well early on in the lane.
Really a star player for the LMS. Actually considered one of the best now, though, in the bottom lane. 4-4. No level advantage here as they fight, just trading damage back and forth. Triumphant Roars will be able to heal Doublelift back up slowly. This should be all right for this lane.
Yeah, so pretty much Maple's CS Doublelift with the lead down bottom as well as Zion up top, kind of making up for it. But marginal lead there for Flash Wolves.
Definitely not working, as I said before. Pobelter not getting the CS lead, possibly within the next 4 minutes. Karsa on the wing.
Teleport's still off cooldown here for Zion, and Stake is level 6. So look for the level 6 Malphite teleport down bottom if CLG get too aggressive.
Sword Art's aggression towards it kind of told him, Alpharmu, there was a little bit more than he wanted to fight there.
Speaking of communication, though, Stake is really low on mana and under his turret, so if he did teleport in, he would only have enough for Unstoppable Force and no other follow-up.
Great point. Very dangerous move if they actually decide to go for it. Looks like he will back for the possibility of something happening, but yeah. Karsa's already back as well.
Once he backs, Xmithy can't gank safely. Even though Zion Spartan does have his teleport up to match, so it's interesting.
I have to say, there has to be communication between top and bottom lane when they're standard lanes. It's so important. You have to clear out those wards that have gotten into the side brush behind CLG's bottom lane, because Zion should be telling them, yes, there's a Malphite level 6, he's going back to get his mana right now. CLG, though, they push up that minion wave, and then they peel off to take the objective here in Dragon.
Nicely done. Stake low on mana. He's not going to be able to come in too quick. Dragon burned down as fast as they can. So CLG, again, kind of slowing down the fact of kills in the game, but aiming for those objectives first.
And as far as encouraging viewers to pay attention to the times when teams quickly shove minion waves, also shoving a minion wave just to get a recall off, to get a purchase, is also a sort of mini objective as far as this really early stage of the game.
That couldn't have gone much better for CLG in standard lanes. To be able to get an uncontested Dragon without actually losing much tempo or pace is really strong. A lot of that, I think, had to do with Zion aggressing so much in the top lane when Stake was low, almost baiting Karsa to come up, and the fact that Karsa had, I think, been spotted a little while ago in bot lane, so CLG didn't expect him to camp down there for that long.
Really nicely timed, as we mentioned earlier, the double Dorans allowing just Time Winder to keep clearing waves. Got the upper hand on Stake for the Dragon for the team.
And not only did CLG take that Dragon, but they got the all-important first line of wards down into the red side jungle. You can see here, they even plopped a pink ward behind that red buff. So they've got a lot of vision on the bottom side of the map.
A lot of that had to do with Xmithy, who purchases far more wards before Sightstone than any other jungler. Specifically, the stat was for North America, but it's holding true again here. You can see he's going for a warrior enchantment, probably a later Sightstone. Aphromoo gets a very early Sightstone to try and compensate after Xmithy put some early gold into wards, and we're seeing that exactly here.
Yeah, plus it is also, not only does it cost him gold to buy all these early wards, but Smithy is still behind on farming here compared to Karsa, who is a couple of camps now up on him.
And the farm game is going pretty well for Flash Wolves thus far. Being in the 2v2 against Double Lift and Aphromoo. In game 1, when they had Kramer down there, Double Lift and Aphromoo up 20 or 30 CS. This substitution has worked wonders for Flash Wolves.
Yeah, it definitely has. As Kruplo talked about, that one cocoon changed everything for the team.
And then its second cocoon.
A lot of respect in that mid lane. You can see the CS in favor of Maple. That ignite kill pressure keeping Pole Belter on his heels.
Zion is playing so aggressively here because they have this division in the bottom red side jungle. They're like, you know what, Rek'Sai's down there. Until we hear her scream and we know that she's trying to use her ultimate to get up to my side, Zion is just pressing this so hard. He's even past the turret there, trying to keep Stake under wraps.
It's very similar to what happened in the first game between these teams, where Stake actually got 2 or 3 kills on Zion because Zion was playing so aggressive and got heavily ganked by Karsa. This time, Zion is displaying the same level of aggression, but Stake is needing to just deal with it.
Yeah, and Karsa has not tried to punish him for it. He's instead, trying to farm up, get his lead on Smithy, which he has done. He's got his completed jungle item here, the Cinder Hulk, done for Karsa.
Looks like he might be able to find him here. Smithy sees the ward. I don't think they're going to want to fight this one, but now with the knowledge of low Smithy, Karsa may try to make a move.
Yeah, that's the other thing. CLG have to now play around the knowledge that Karsa will win out in a skirmish.
Yeah.
Great wards, though, for CLG.
There would be a potential for Malphite to teleport down, but there were enough people missing in the counter-teleport. Flash Wolves call it off.
I like this, playing off Maple's aggression. They'll see if he wants to go distort in again for damage on Pole Belter. Flanked by each side, though. Karsa on the right, Zion on the left.
Yep, Zion buying some wards himself. He goes down, places some river vision, and it is going to talk to him. Looks like only one melee minion because he shoved so quickly.
Yeah. So looking at how counter logic has always come out of scrims, saying that scrims are going well, this is going well, but they completely fall apart within a game. Seems kind of mind-boggling each time.
Well, that's like we were talking about in the opening, because it's happened twice against Ku, where CLG played so aggressively and so risky even after they got behind. Uh-oh, Maple.
That barrier's still there for Pobelter. He can stand toe-to-toe for a bit. If the trade goes his way, the chain did miss.
Yeah, Maple is taking really good trades. That was one of the first ones where Pobelter actually gave as good as he got, because he was able to dodge initially.
Yeah.
But going back to the team as a whole, I'm pretty sure that the management talked to them after those two sort of snowball games against Ku, told them to be a little bit more cautious. Yeah. We're seeing it play out here. Double Lift just sort of waiting until he can build up to the Infinity Edge.
Yeah. And if we think about CLG of old, losing a game like they did to Ku Tigers, that's like the tilt of nightmares. They lost so terribly.
Absolutely.
And then having to come back in the same day and play 2 more games seems really scary. A lot of this will just have to do with how much mental strength CLG has been able to build up during the regular season to match up against Flash Wolves, who are playing very methodically and slow as they usually do.
Yeah, we have to be very careful. Smithy's got to be very careful here, picking a fight with Karsa. Still has the level advantage over him. So even though he's backed up with the invade here from Double Lift and Afro move, Flash Wolves, all they have to do is pull that trigger. The first blood should be very explosive from Flash Wolves if Stake is able to pull the trigger on his teleport.
Yeah, at this point, it might just be at second dragon with the way CLG is going to hold off for most of the objectives in this game. Top lane back and forth once again. Zion Spartan doesn't have to worry too much. Really just taking a bunch of Cinderhulk damage there. Or, I should say,
Tommy Cinder.
Tommy Cinder, thank you.
Little baby Cinderhulk.
Yeah, Zion's got about 2/3 of the turret dead in the top lane. And CLG is starting to work on the bottom turret as well. This will prompt aggression from Flash Wolves as CLG tries to get more and more bold in these side lanes.
Ooh, Pobelter tries to sidestep, but he gets caught with the chain.
Belter up, barriers down. His flash can be used right now. The Ignite should be saved with that safeguard. That's going to be the mimic of Maple. No kill coming from that. And Xmithy perfectly on the wing. The rocket just over the right shoulder of Pobelter.
Not even close. Don't worry about it.
Pobelter stopped to pray in the middle of the lane. Saved him.
Narrow miss. That very easily could have been first blood and could have swung that lane over for NL, because that would have given him the jump to Infinity Edge over Double Lift that he would so heavily need.
I want to point out a nice little mechanic that Zion just used to gain extra pressure in that top lane. Okay. Just use the Echo Ultimate to get back to lane even quicker. And the reason why I'm focusing so much on the minion wave control of the top lane is because Zion Spartan, well, you can see right there, he got the objective himself, but he's drawn a lot of attention.
Yeah, now he's got no ultimate to try and save himself if he were to be dope, but he has positioned himself to get out with that ward.
This is the Zion that CLG thought they were going to see from the very beginning of group stages. He's been able to play aggressively, draw resources from the enemy team, and still come out with his advantage.
Definitely the Zion we started to see at the end of the season with the Fizz and Olaf picks. And it seems like CLG did their own kind of dip again to come back up a little bit, but they're having that trouble. We talked about it a little bit already, but even hearing CLG mention that we're not playing like we play, it's a little disheartening if you're that team. See if they can right the ship here and right those wrongs. Still no sight ward for Xmithy. He's been finished up on Karsa. Flash Wolves have not been able to push their wards too far forward.
Going again to try and chunk out Pobelter.
So Summoner's down, it's got to be a repeat.
So, Smithy was able to get with the combo there. So CLG, again, they want to utilize Zion's big lead in the top lane to gain a map advantage here. Shove that lane out and put pressure on Stake so that you make Flash Wolves have to choose between losing an extra minion wave up there on the top side or some damage on the secondary turret, or teleporting in. Right now, though, Flash Wolves, they have the minion wave advantage on top, and they're pressing in. That's why they're going to be able to steal this blue buff. Well, let's see if they get it. They know the smite is down.
Yeah, they ended up stealing it for the jungler instead of being able to pass it off to someone more beneficial. This is really a huge moment in the game. Unless Flash Wolves rush the dragon right now, Zion Spartan's going to continue to push out that lane. I was expecting Flash Wolves to actually try for a dragon there.
Yeah, I mean, they are able to deny it from Pobelter, which is, you know, optimal, but Belter hasn't had too much of concern with mana problems. You know, he's gone with the early Negatron, so the poke from Maple is not as threatening anymore. Bottom lane, though, Afro trying to save this turret, and he's 1 versus 3.
He's in a tough spot right now. It's going to be another teleport coming in. That should be stopped on the Rek'Sai tunnel. Zion Spartan also joins the party. It looks like he actually wants a bit of a fight. Phase dive is used back to a minion after execution.
CLG have to transfer over to Dragon now, or else they committed that teleport for nothing. Stake canceled his, so they know this is 4 versus 5, and CLG are going to lose a lot of damage on the top turret. See if the Malphite slaps actually do enough before Zion can get back up there.
It depends. If one rock is denser than the other, it'll work well.
Yeah, some of these teams so quick to match teleports because they don't want to be outnumbered, but Flash Wolves would have had an amazing power play there if Stake would have just held off, since Afro had burned his ultimate and Zion would have been down a teleport. Either way, they might get 2 turrets out of this Dragon trade.
Zion Spartan should be able to get top side. It looks like he may be able to make it in time. No, he will not.
Totally worth for Flash Wolves.
Yeah, it was.
Second Dragon, in my opinion, is mostly meaningless because you can still get the chance at the third, and they haven't gotten the move speed yet on the opponent's side. The Dragons, giving the gold to put Flash Wolves in this position is much greater.
Double lift jumps out, binding used. No, Zap actually hits. There's the rocket as well. Double lift. It's like 15 feet of wall there if he made that flash. Wow.
That is a Flash that will never get over that wall from his current position.
Very risky positioning there from Double Lift. Pushed up really far past the turret that was just taken. And they punish him heavily for it. 3 members down bottom, though. CLG try and answer with the turret of their own. Will they be able to get enough damage on mid, though? Doesn't look like it.
Karsa continuing to engage with the black shield on him. And it just keeps working. Everybody has to back off from Chronologic Gaming in the mid lane. Double Lift just coming back up now to get himself back in. Didn't lose too much CS in this situation. CLG trying to keep tabs on Flash Wolves right now. Zion Spartan giving them a little what for. Doesn't look like they're going to get much out of this. They're really just losing a bit of HP each time they try to engage. Going hard here on the mid turret. Respect given by Maple and the rest of Flash Wolves.
Double Lift is there.
Maybe not. They go in after the turret goes down, fight with the damage, and they are going to get taken out. Karsa goes down immediately. Maple living with a sliver of health. That's an L going down now. After they lose one, they keep wanting to go in, and it's ill-advised.
Who needs Double Lift here? 4-man push without the Trist as a turret definitely takes Flash Wolf by surprise. Karsa goes in, gets completely bursted. Pobelter landed everything, and the double Abyssal Scepter power spike from those 2 mid laners just destroyed Flash Wolves right there.
I'll never understand letting the turret go down and then engaging. But they try for it, they lose a few. 2-1 now, coming up onto 20 minutes. Double Lift also going to pick one up, and with the mid turret down, it opens up the map nicely for more forward wards and a bit of CLG movement from Afro.
Yep, they're gonna litter this red side jungle and try and push the last wave to get that wave into the turret. I think that NL should be able to clean up the rest of those minions, though, and draw even with Double Lift. Let's see if Pobelter can hold mid. Victor, the god of wave clear, should be able to hold his own.
Laser.
Oh dear.
Woo! This is good. Nice job for Double Lift, able to get himself out safely. We saw previously against Ku getting dragged over walls. They couldn't even get from lane to lane. They get a little bit of freedom here. We'll see this fight again.
The Black Shield gone before Karsa even gets into this fight. And then Maple distorting into the Pulverize. One part bad, other part really unlucky. And then Zion Spartan gets both ticks of the Time Wander there as Pobelter comes in for the finish, and it just gets bursted for far more than he expected.
Yeah, Zion doing a lot of work this game. His early lead on Stake manifested in, as you said, not only the double Abyssal Scepter build, but more spell penetration on top of that. Whoa, Stake deep in enemy territory.
Does not look like it's going to end well for him. The whole team is coming up the river. He's got enough HP to last, but the team definitely does not want to continue that fight. CLG starting to gain a little bit back here and there, but they got to make sure they're not the ones chasing the fights that aren't going to happen in their favor.
And there's that Fog of War control we talked about for the Flash Wolf. They're able to find their first pick here. Maple finds Smithy, and that's going to put more pressure on Pobelter here in the mid lane, trying to do wave clear. Zion actually gets called up.
Really swingy game here. Stake does have his teleport and ultimate if they want to push this really hard. Probably the turret easily for Flash Wolves.
Eyes on Zion.
Where's the teleport? Here it comes.
Still going to go in. They try to get Karsa immediately. Still pretty tanky. He's going to take a while to go down. And that's enough time for Flash Wolves to assess and set up a kill of their own. 2 going down. Zion Spartan next. Smithy coming back up from previously. Sorry.
That was a great stun lock like there. Zion did not have time to get his ultimate off.
Still trying. Relentless here from Flash Wolves. There's another one. Chain into binding. We're seeing the composition kind of come to fruition here as they get together in the mid lane.
And it is seeing how Flash Wolves wants to poke back and forth, but they have to be very wary of Aphromu's initiation. He's not directly going on to Maple, but when Maple goes into poke, Aphromu's very willing to go in for the initiation, and CLG as a team is very willing to follow. As slow as this game begun, there's a chance we get some very bloody team fights.
I haven't seen too many LeBlancs lately, but Double is feeling that, oh, there's half my health. I might need a Vampiric Scepter sooner than later in this game if that's going to keep happening, because Maple's doing that willy-nilly on every target he can get. Pole Belter, Double Lift, and we see it on Aphromu too. Yeah,
and as expected as well with the 4 AP solo laners, we see a whole bunch of early Aegis of the Legion rushes here for both teams. Flash Wolves actually got double. So everybody will be in range for the extra magic resistance, and it does double stack on the 2 who hold it.
Yeah, what's so interesting about the double Aegis is I feel like it used to be good in practice, but I still prefer the tankier guy getting the benefit of the Aegis as well as then just getting a Spirit Visage, because he's getting the aura anyway. The only benefit the second Aegis does is it gives the extra aura to the support who already has the aura. If anything though, if Sword Art's not going in, at least Karsa can benefit Stake with his aura because they're going to get spread out. That's the higher benefit of the double Aegis.
I do agree with you with maybe Karsa this game going with a more greedy build and buying magic resist just for himself because he's been focused down two times in a row.
Right.
By AP damage. So he really would love a Spectre's Cow right now.
Scion Spartan trying to get
This is actually a really early Baron, but Stake's going to sniff it out. Crisis averted for Flash Wolves. That would have been a nice sneak, but obviously that ward.
Yeah, actually, and CLG used a lot of resources gaining that vision control of Baron, which I feel like it's a it's a very low percentage chance to get that Baron, and that pink ward and that sweeper might have better been utilized around Dragon, which is about to go down.
And now CLG's best form of initiation has no ultimate and no help. This could very easily be a Dragon or a Dragon and a turret for Flash Wolves.
And really, it seems like it's just folding over from last game. Many mistakes made by Double Lift and Aphro in the bot lane, kind of walking into a situation that got them killed. And now they lose pressure on the mid lane because they did not respect the grabs, the pokes, and the bindings.
Small chunk there. Scion Spartan does have Home Guard upgrade as well on his boots, so he could try and teleport into this, but it's a blind Dragon here for CLG if they were to face check.
I feel like he's waiting for the Home Guard teleport right from base.
Aphromu does not have his ultimate backup. This would be so risky.
Zion has been waiting in base for an opportunity, but
he entered again. He's back and forth. Looks like he will hold off on this one. The team's still trying to flank on this. Smithy's going to take a bit of damage. Zion very much holding. Maybe they can get... Oh, my word.
Nice
Double Lift gets hit. Very nice channel on that. Getting out of the unstoppable force. That's going to be Aphromu down. Like he said, no ultimate here. Smithy comes in a bad spot. Zion Spartan, rather. But this could be Flash Wolves' loss. If they can get a few more hits in on the side of CLG, they're going to start losing members. Stake back to the front line. Karsa gets there as well. Black Shield on him again, so he can't be stopped. Double Lift in the eyes now of Flash Wolves. Zion Spartan doing what he can to deter and peel off his AD carry. Zion onto Sword Art. Sword Art could go down with one more hit, but he just can't swing the sword. Double Lift to the other side. Dubbing in. He gets the reset. He says, "King me," but can't get the next jump. Zion Spartan now in a battle. A 3v1 around him. A 2v1, I should say. And it does not look like it's going to end well. The parallel convergence stun is going to happen, but Karsa is free to roam and free to swipe.
A delayed ace there for Flash Wolves. What a massive fight. We said this game was going to start exploding in the mid game with some bloody team fights, and that was about as bloody as it's going to get. No ultimate on Aphromu, so he dies before the follow can happen from Zion Spartan, which makes the delay in that fight very pronounced. And then CLG tries to reach around the back end to finish that off, and Flash Wolves is able to prevail.
CLG actually started this off pretty well with Double F buffering his rocket jump right there. But again,
those
as
shields.
you said, Aphromu getting chunked out earlier, he had no teleport. And those Flame Chompers on top of the ward, very quick thinking there by NL. Then we get the spread out fight inside the jungle here. And CLG, it looked like Pobelter got a little bit baited in by the LeBlanc clone. Nice finding there from Sword Art. And Double Lift actually got too close to Pobelter. So both CLG carries standing next to each other hurt them a lot.
Yeah. Flash Wolves, I feel like, did a nice job of target prioritization at the very start of that fight, knowing that they were free to focus Afromu. Would have been better for COG if they could have had Lee Sin going in at the start of that fight. And again, Afro takes a lot of damage. He wants to hold on to his ult.
Oh.
Gonna have to burn it.
One after the other. All for alt there, however. Doublelift almost taking that one to the mouth as they make their way down to now repair mid lane. I think both teams taking a slight breather, maybe, as they keep getting hit.
Flash Wolves pushing the tempo here. Even though they're behind, they're forcing CLG into some high pressure decisions, and CLG are starting to crumble again. CLG have to calm down and watch their plays, because that last mid lane turret push definitely cost them. Let's see if the Baron bait pays off.
Definitely
Goes down pretty quick. Smithy is in base, so if COG wants to fight this, not only do they have to blind face check against a Malphite, they'd have to get the time for Smithy and fight a 4v5.
That 4,000, and they're getting chunked out. This is going great for Flash Wolves.
Scion Spartan gets himself away with the phase dive.
They're zoned out.
Should be safe, but yeah, they can't do anything. CLG watches the Baron go down, and now Flash Wolves have a nice way to get themselves to this next set of turrets. Quite a bit of AP on the side of CLG. It's going to be up to Doublelift to start clearing these minion waves.
This is eerily similar to day one of group stage when Flash Wolves had a 5,000 gold lead in mid game against CLG.
Yeah.
They started with CLG winning the lane slightly. Flash Wolves had better execution in the mid game due to CLG mistakes, but this time CLG does not have the Lulu for a hyper carry, and they're going to have to find a new way to try to come back.
After Mukau once again, Maple's gonna take him down, take him right down all the way. Hits another sigil, and it looks like they go in. A kick to NL, he's to the back line. Great damage coming in from McSmithy, but he goes down for his attempt. And can CLG clean this one up? Doublelift jumps forward, the red buff is on, so they could
binding!
What a binding coming in from Sword Out. They're able to finish off Doublelift. The double kill for Stake.
Sword Art has been so on point with Morg this game, and Maple is showing people why he was such a hyped mid laner coming out of the LMS. The amount of poke they have been able to put down on Afromu has completely crippled CLG's ability to play this game.
And the vision control that they're getting done. Him and Karsa to boot. They've been able to control so much of the fog of war with this pick comp, and then you land the ensuing bindings there. Very good comeback so far from Flash Wolves. Giant gold swing after that push.
The amount of bindings hitting right now, definitely too high for the side of Counter Logic Gaming, not respecting the space that Flash Wolves can play with. And we'll see it once again here.
Yeah, let's take a look at, so Afromu gets picked again at first, and he gets 100%ed because he, oh, actually.
That was such a forethought.
Used his ultimate at the very end.
Very early black shield for him as well.
Smithy did get a really good kick onto NL, but it was just a little bit too late here. Doublelift jumps forward to try and get a reset, but doesn't fully commit, can't get the range.
And then he's positioning himself in between the turrets, so there's no juking that Dark Binding once he jumps into that spot. Yeah. Really just poor positioning there from Doublelift.
Flash Wolves finishing up quite a few items here. That Banshee's Veil on Stake pretty much gives him a black shield he needs every so often. They can now use Sword Arts for somebody else if necessary. This is Zion Spartan. We'll see how fast he can zero out NL here if he goes for the attack. Nice dodge on the Time Winder to get the damage on the backside as well, but he's forced to get out with his ultimate. Pole Belter looking to get himself something fancy, but oh, goes down actually. NL off on the side. Him and Karsa already doing work in the top lane, participating in fights in the jungle with the ultimates, and they're going to keep pushing.
They still have Baron, and the majority of CLG's wave clear and team fighting potential is dead. This is huge power play here for Flash Wolves, pushing 2 lanes at once.
Just instantly falling apart once one grab happens. CLG gets another grab, and Flash Wolves know they have CLG on the back foot here, and they continue to pound them into the ground. Ward's going down inside the base now. For any other grabs that they can get, they know they are safe to be here.
Such a massive game for Flash Wolves. Well, they need to win this game to keep their hopes at Worlds alive. Yeah. Another binding lands.
CLG could have clinched a berth into the semifinals here if they're able to take down Flash Wolves, but they are having none of it right now. Stake winning the Afro War and winning the League War right now with the rest of his team. Across the board, fantastic play so far from Flash Wolves this game.
Yeah, such a ridiculously large Baron power play right there for the Flash Wolves. Plus, they've kept CLG occupied for so long inside their own base that a lot of CLG's ward coverage expired as well. Now they're trying to rush back out and get the consolation prize of Dragons, but it's only number 3.
And Maple is just so far ahead of the curve right now with no true tanks on CLG. The LeBlanc poke is just out of this world right now. Unless CLG gets an incredibly clean initiation, they're always starting a fight, basically down a man.
That's Grievous Wounds.
No ignite.
Grievous Wounds.
nearly the second time that combo. LeBlanc pick is just coming up huge right here, specifically the way Maple is playing it with the team.
5,600 gold as a result of the Baron.
That is almost double what the average Baron power play has been here so far at Worlds.
You can just see how much control Flash Wolves have, and it's different control than what other teams have shown. Ku's shown a bit of this as well. When they have the lead, they run with it. They aren't unsure if they have the lead. They keep pressuring. And now onto the inhibitor turrets of CLG's base. They look to take this win very soon.
Maple's doing all this poke without even the Black Shield being on him yet.
Double Lift, though, with the Bloodthirster did lifesteal that up, so Maple has to poke someone else other than Double Lift if they want to get a real advantage for this siege.
Or Steak has to combo his ultimate with it and just kill him.
That too.
There are going to have to be some very heavy mechanics for the items down for Counterlogic Gaming in these fights. They're able to hold the inhibitor without a turret in front of it. Flash Wolves just looking for it. Pole Belter gets himself in a great spot. Kickback Steak is going to go down possibly. That's a lot of focus for the tank. And the rest of the team's taking the inhibitor. There's the Chaos Storm from Pole Belter. CLG's trying to chase here, but they're taking damage as they chase. A great binding from Sword Art. That's the headbutt initiation for Pulverize that CLG needs to keep it going, so they have to stop.
Yeah, another great binding there from Sword Art. Great Morgana performance from him so far today.
Yeah, Flash Wolves didn't let Maple set anything up with poke there. The ultimate was aptly flashed by Pole Belter, and it completely backfires there because of the kickback in the turret. Another thing about Steak's build is he's gone for that just one magic resist item, thinking that the double AP is not going to be wanting focus a tank, which is generally true, and it's really been shutting down Double Lift. So the fact that they could kick him into the Nexus turret for an extra little bit of help, and then they still struck to kill him, shows how unkillable he's actually become.
Said the mechanics are going to have to be high with the items down here. Still just a needlessly large rod trying to be built up after an Abyssal Scepter coming in for Pole Belter. He is all charged up on his item. See if they can get themselves a good fight. It seemed like in the jungle earlier is what they wanted. A Chaos Storm built up, but Flash Wolves has been separating and dispersing very nicely.
CLG spending a lot of money on vision here around Baron, and now they're sitting in the brush.
So they get Steak.
That's his Banshee's
barely touches him.
Correct.
Banshee's Veil into Black Shield. Why would you even try? Pole Belter's going to be the one hit. Steak has all day to play around here. He says, come on, guys, let's go. Bindings from Sword Art go to the backside. They miss, but they still have Aphromoo to kill. Taking him down. Pole Belter's next. Double It's going to get hit with some rockets. The binding for Smithy is forced to be flashed forward with the Buster Shot backwards. Double It lives for another second, but the distortion now to come in from Maple with a sigil will end him. There's the auto attack. That's 4 down. Smithy runs for the homestead, and he's not going to be able to do much for the inhibitors.
That's the thing. Full take. Malphite is happy to face check a brush, and Zion goes right onto the flame choppers again. Smithy gets caught.
Yeah, still 20 seconds plus on the death timer, so this should be Flash Wolves taking the game, I think. Maybe just two inhibitors.
Looks like the inhibitor top open in their eyes. They're going to want that. I don't know if they want to chance this right now. Not very many minions coming in, but and they have Baron in the bottom lane to work with now, so it's going to be nice for them. Going in, he's going to try to go for Sword Art. Chrono Break Brat back. The fights are not being won, and they keep using ults outside of a big fight.
And even when there is a big fight, they're not able to use their ults.
So true.
Well, this should be a repeat Baron for Flash Wolves here. They left behind plenty of vision. They've got 2 inhibitors down. CLG still licking their wounds.
Really well played by Flash Wolves so far. The teamwork across the map this game, on point for them. Dragon can even be theirs in another minute here if they can win this resulting fight, if CLG actually wants it.
In true CLG fashion, they are testing the faith of their fans.
Yeah, so if Flash Wolves is able to hold this out, it makes the next 2 games incredibly interesting because that would put, we'll go over this fight one more time.
There's the face check.
I mean, they do stun him, but Zion steps straight onto a Flame Chomper, can't ultimate out, and the fight is the game might even be over at that point. Pole Belter doesn't have Flash from the last time, so Steak can easily just click on him to get the ultimate. The rest of Flash Wolves can then arrive at the fight. Really, the initial pick onto Steak isn't the worst idea as long as Zion doesn't step on the Flame Chopper, because then CLG would have been able to disengage. They attempted again. These guys are just too tanky.
Arsa, pretty damn big right here, takes a full hit from 3 members of Counterlogic Gaming, and they're right back here. Another unstoppable force. 4-member pop-up. Double Lift on the outside. They're going to actually have to look away from him. Steak's going to take down a 1v1. Double kill coming in for NL, looking for a triple kill. That's a triple. That's going to be the quadra.
was on the bench for game 1 here at Worlds. He is coming up huge.
There's the teleport. That's going to be the push for the Nexus for Flash Wolves.
This makes this group so interesting. Flash Wolves still have a chance for first place in the group.
Absolutely crazy. Flash Wolves march down the mid lane. Karsa down in the victory fight, but it doesn't matter. 37 minutes and Counter Logic Gaming will fall to the Flash Wolves.
Flash Wolves come back so strong after losing to Pain last week, having an incredibly close game against the Brazilians already today, and then carrying that through to beat a fledgling, I think that's the wrong word, a struggling CLG is just massive for them. And now the question will be, can they carry on their performance against KOO?
So much strength, that is true. They're now staying on stage. There'll be a break between games, but now they face off against KOO, who just watch them after KOO had 2 very strong games themselves.